at 3:15 hours, 7 seconds. That's all it took for a Ukrainian sea drone to potentially redefine naval warfare. A Mura V5 drone, call sign Alpha 111, knifes through the Black Sea surface, maintaining a mere 4 inches of freeboard. Its electric motors emit only a whisper, swallowed by the wind and waves as it cruises at 39 knots. No navigation lights betraying its presence. 70 kilometers south of Odessa, Alpha 111 enters Gridbox Blackbird 5, a silent hunter in the pre-dawn darkness. Inside a nondescript command van near Ochakiv, over 100 kilometers away, 2 operators huddle over glowing displays, hands clutching steaming mugs. Their eyes, trained and vigilant, scan the thermal and electro-optical feeds. For what seems like an eternity, the FLIR screen shows nothing but the cold expanse of the sea and the distant heat signature of a Romanian oil rig. Then, a flicker. 2 plumes of heat materialize at the edge of the screen, both airborne. By 0412 hours, these thermal signatures resolve into distinct shapes. 2 fast movers running a north-south track at low altitude. The silhouettes are unmistakable. SU-27s executing a now standard Russian Navy drone hunting patrol. One of the flankers breaks formation, banking towards Alpha 111's position. The drone software reacts instantly. It throttles back to 18 knots, its hull settling lower into the water, mimicking the wave patterns. Its thermal signature blends with the ambient sea temperature, becoming virtually indistinguishable from the surrounding waves. The SU-27 drops altitude, its pilot keenly aware of the threat these unmanned systems pose. The aircraft's thermal sensor, nestled beneath its nose, detects something. Perhaps just a wave reflection. Perhaps something far more sinister. In the command van, an operator whispers, "He's gotta get a visual." His fingertip hovers over the screen, then taps a command. Alpha 111's targeting mast rises silently from its housing, mounted amidships on a stabilized platform. Secured to this platform is a repurposed MANPADS launcher primed for action. The SU-27 begins a slow port turn, its engine exhaust now fully exposed to the sea below. The gamble is unprecedented. The slender, retractable mast rising from just behind the forward communications array is a key component. The Mura V5's electro-optical targeting system. It is a specialized maritime surveillance and targeting system designed for extreme low-profile engagements from wave-level platforms. Inside this waterproof housing are 3 integrated sensors, a daylight camera, a long-wave infrared detector, and a precision laser rangefinder. The mast extends to a maximum height of 1.2 meters above the deck, providing an optimal vantage point for targeting aerial threats while minimizing its own profile. The system's integrated laser rangefinder achieves accuracy within 2.3 meters at distances up to 5 kilometers, while the thermal optic can detect engine plumes from fighter aircraft at 3.1 kilometers, even through the ever-present maritime haze. This capability is what allows the Mura to acquire, track, and develop firing solutions against aerial targets without betraying its position through active radar emissions. At 0416 hours, the SU-27 hangs against the pre-dawn sky 1.8 kilometers away, its dark silhouette occasionally disappearing into the clouds. The fighter descends in a shallow arc, maintaining what pilots call visual recon posture. Slow enough to spot anomalies, fast enough to evade most ground fire. The flanker's twin engines push it along at just under 400 knots, the pilot banking left to position for a broadside pass of the suspected contact area. Inside the command van, the atmosphere is thick with tension. The operators breathe shallowly, muscles tensed as they watch the tactical display. A targeting reticle wavers, then locks center frame on the approaching aircraft. The lead operator toggles the laser rangefinder, sending a brief invisible pulse that bounces off the target and returns. The display flashes 1.68 kilometers. The mast compensates automatically for a sudden wave that rocks the drone platform, its gyroscopic mount making micro adjustments 50 times per second. No one speaks. The only sounds are the hum of cooling fans and the soft clicks of control inputs. Mounted on Alpha 111's reinforced center deck sits a Ukrainian modified 9K-38, known to NATO as the SA-18 Grouse. The Soviet-era MANPADS rests in a custom fabricated cradle with auto-correcting stabilizers to compensate for sea motion. The The weapon was never designed for maritime platforms, but ingenuity and engineering adaptations have made it possible. With the jet almost directly overhead, the operators make the call. Fire 1. The launch sequence initiates with a percussive thump that shudders through the drone's composite hull. Flame erupts from the missile's motor, briefly illuminating the surrounding water in harsh orange light. The IGLA leaps skyward with a piercing shriek, trailing sparks and smoke. Alpha 111 rocks violently from the recoil, its speed dropping as it absorbs the blast. Inside the SU-27's cockpit, warning indicators suddenly scream to life, a missile lock tone blaring through the pilot's headset. His hand instinctively slaps the countermeasures panel, ejecting twin bursts of magnesium flares that bloom behind the aircraft. But he's too slow, caught in the middle of a turn. He slams the throttles forward and banks hard, but it is not enough. The missile has acquired his engine's heat signature and is closing fast. At precisely 0417 hours and 11 seconds, 68 kilometers south of Odessa, the IGLA's proximity fuse detects the plane's position and detonates. Shrapnel penetrates the SU-27's starboard engine, igniting fuel and shredding control surfaces. The fighter convulses in mid-air, flame erupting from its rear fuselage. The pilot pulls the ejection handle, rocketing clear of the doomed aircraft seconds before it begins its terminal dive. The IGLA's compact design and heat-seeking guidance allowed for a reliable off-platform engagement despite sea movement and mounting instability. Its 2.5-second lock-and-fire cycle let the operator exploit the SU-27's low-speed turn, forcing the jet into an unrecoverable situation before it could climb or accelerate. Without the drone's stabilized IGLA mount, even a confirmed lock wouldn't translate to a clean shot. But the hit, although good, would mean nothing without reliable real-time communication. At 0418 hours, less than 60 seconds after missile impact, Alpha 111's camera captures the SU-27's final moments. The thermal feed shows the aircraft trailing a bright plume of burning fuel, its airframe disintegrating as it arcs toward the sea. The pilot appears as a small, dark figure suddenly separated from the aircraft, followed by the mushroom shape of a deploying parachute blossoming against the pre-dawn sky. Inside the command van, sweat beads on the operators' foreheads, despite the cool air. The primary screen trembles slightly as shock waves from the explosion reach the drone and ripple through its hull. Hit confirmed. We got him. One operator breathes, his voice barely audible. His knuckles whiten as he grips the edge of the console. No celebration erupts. Every person in that van understands the implications of what comes next. Every Russian asset in the Black Sea is now converging on this position with extreme prejudice. Alpha 111's software initiates an emergency evasion. The drone lunges forward, accelerating back to maximum speed. It lowers itself into the water until it's barely skimming the wave tops, its hull occasionally slapping against the surface as it cuts eastward toward grid box Echo 6. The transmission mast remains elevated, pumping a continuous stream of information, navigation data, video feeds, and targeting logs, back to higher headquarters in Kyiv. The tactical display suddenly illuminates with new contacts. Two rotary wing signatures appear 15 kilometers out, closing fast. The distinct blade signature identifies a Ka-52 Alligator, likely scrambled from its patrol station near occupied Crimean waters. Alpha 111 has expended its only weapon. Now it's running only on battery reserves and a prayer. Inside the command van, the primary data link stutters, the screen flickering between a clear feed and pixelated noise. The secondary operator's fingers dance across his console, adjusting gain on the Starlink uplink panel. You're not. Comm link's degrading, he reports, his voice tight. Alligator must be running jammers. The drone continues transmitting, but signal integrity is failing. One sustained dropout could mean losing the entire mission feed, including verification of the SU-27 downing. Without that proof, Russian denial is certain. The lead operator inputs an emergency burst command sequence. Alpha 111 responds immediately, pivoting 30 degrees northeast to establish a better course to align with the nearest satellite. The drone's main antenna glows as it channels maximum power into one final compressed data packet package directed straight to servers in KYIV. This digital pulse races skyward, carrying the evidence that will shock military analysts worldwide. The Starlink-enabled uplink ensures a complete post-strike analysis can reach KYIV even while Russian electromagnetic jamming and signal loss are affecting it. Without the burst mode failover, the strike data, FLIR footage, and hit confirmation could be lost, and the world would have no proof that a sea drone took out a fighter jet. And with the Ka-52 Alligator closing fast, the drone has less than 90 seconds to prove this ever happened. At 0420 hours, the Ka-52 Alligator materializes through the haze, the helicopter's distinctive silhouette standing out against the dark horizon. Alpha 111 strains at maximum throttle, 42 knots, its hull vibrating as it pounds through the waves. Salt spray pours over the sensor mast as it tries to escape, but the Alligator crew isn't searching blindly. They've tracked the missile launch signature and plotted interception coordinates with calculated precision. Inside the command van, tension thickens the air. The lead operator switches the drone to terrain echo evasion mode, tapping commands with sweat-slick fingers. Alpha 111 responds immediately, diving into the troughs between waves and maintaining a deliberate 6-degree yaw offset that mimics natural whitecap patterns. The drone's tactical AI activates, implementing unpredictable course changes while maintaining a general heading. The screen shows a zigzagging wake behind the craft, but the evasive pattern isn't enough to break visual contact. At 0421 hours, the Alligator transitions to a hover, its nose angling downward as it stabilizes just a few hundred yards from the drone. The pilot soon sights it and lines up his 30mm autocannon. It's all over. The first burst rips through the pre-dawn stillness. Seconds later, a stream of 30 million rounds walks across the water and slams into Alpha 111. The impact resonates through the drone's hull. The left stabilizer tears away completely, sending a fountain of spray 20 feet skyward as the drone lurches violently to starboard. Battery warning indicators flash red across the command van monitors. Power reserves plummet. Damage to the starboard cooling vent is causing catastrophic heat buildup. The operators exchange grim glances. Alpha 111 has less than 2 minutes of life left. Soon the Alligator adjusts its position and delivers a second burst. These rounds puncture the drone amidships, destroying the electro-optical mast in a shower of sparks and shattered composite. Back in the van, the video feed cuts to static instantly, but the mission's primary objective is already accomplished. The critical data package arrived intact just seconds earlier. At 0422 hours, the Alligator descends for a final attack run. This burst walks methodically up the drone's central spine, rounds penetrating vital system compartments. Alpha 111's hull fractures along its structural seams. It flips once and sinks beneath the waves. This is Goba military. Subscribe for more real-time battlefield breakdowns and tactical deep dives.